Gross, thank you for coming on in. I'll be starting in just a second. Let me just make sure all my functions are working here. Let's see. I'll turn on my camera and say hello for a second. Let's see if you can see me. Hi. Long story why I'm leaning down. And to make a long story short, want to make sure that everybody has privacy in the room. All right, so we are going to be doing an incredible webinar for you. This is going to sound like a boring topic, but it's not at all. It becomes more and more exciting as we go through it because it's such a money-making opportunity in addition to a protection, sort of a prophylactic, so to speak, over your business. That's really going to, I think, excite you in the end. And it's really going to be a really great webinar. All right. So first of all, if you guys can just shout if you can hear me and tell me where you are at. Some folks are still coming in right now. This, of course, is the ComplyFi webinar. So give me a shout and I'll say hello. All right. We have Tom Lynch here again. We have Mustafa. We have Fred from Veendam in the Netherlands. Thank you for being here. We have Glenn from Queensland, Australia. Great. You have the eclipse coming up in 2028. Don't forget. We have Steve in Southport in the UK. Tom is from Virginia. Ramsey, the reason there was no audio earlier is we got a late start, about 3 minutes late. Rob is here from Canada. Steve from UK. Okay, Keith is here. Oh, and Mustafa's from California. Greg is from South Florida. Blackpool, UK, Steve. You're near Chicago, Kathleen. Okay, great. Ron is from Texas. Michael says hello. Elizabeth's from South Carolina, USA, where there's snow on the northern border right now. Ramsey is south of France. You can't shout, Kirby. All right, you're at work. Oh, well, I get it. I said, give me a shout out. Andrew from a nonprofit church. Very good. Gina from Wisconsin. Jean from Canada. Deborah from Florida. Elkhart, Indiana. Greenfield, Indiana. Cynthia from Virginia. Thank you so much, everyone. I assume you could hear me okay. And we're about to get started with ComplyFi. I have Cyril Gupta here as well. He's the mastermind behind this product because he realized it was something that every single business was going to need. So let's get started. And of course, if I haven't introduced myself, I'm Todd Gross. Now, we have an amazing webinar attendee bonus that I want to tell you about. So if you are here right now, keep in mind that if you stay till the end, you don't even have to purchase anything. But if you stay till the very end, we have your name and we'll actually send you something very, very special that will help you with your compliance of your website, even if you purchase nothing. So everyone should stay on until the end. That's only about 1 hour and 5 minutes, 1 hour and 10 minutes from now. So there's one other thing I want to tell you about that's coming up later in this broadcast, this webinar, and that is we're having a contest for a reimbursement, or a good chunk of your purchase will be reimbursed. So pay attention to everything I say very closely, because at one point or another, something's going to come up, and I'm going to ask you later on a question about something we discussed or that Cyril brought up. And yeah, those who have the correct answer will take a random choice out of those who got the right answer, and we will be handing out some money. Now, it's 2025, obviously. The world is changing. What's really changing in the online world right now, other than stuff like AI, is the data security and privacy are now being absolutely required at a global level. And it's affecting you in ways that you don't even realize. And that's what we'll be talking about today. Now, we're talking about everywhere in the world. USA, EU, Canada, Japan, Brazil, South Africa, India, New Zealand, and almost everywhere else has these requirements right now with new, stronger standards that are being created all over. The site's owners worldwide are at risk and have no clue. At risk of what? Well, let me tell you. First of all, the majority of websites worldwide are missing the most vital compliance. They're not being compliant to the law, but more importantly, whether they get in trouble or not, this affects you with things like Google Ads. So the mass majority of internet is just not compliant. It's estimated more than 95% of websites don't have a cookies policy, which is what we'll be talking about today the most, that complies with GDPR. Now, many businesses have not updated their tracking code to adhere to the new standards, and standards and acronyms like GDPR are constantly changing region by region. So each different country is actually changing, and it makes it impossible for businesses to keep up. Now, without the right compliance, this is the most important thing and the one that affects you the most. It's lost ad revenue. Google turns you away with all their analytics. The worst case is penalties and fines, but let's talk about that ad revenue for a second. You see, when you're missing consent compliance, and you'll understand 100% what that is in a minute, you can't get your ads run. I mean, you'll think you're running them, you'll pay for them, but they won't be shown. All right, so let me show you exactly what this is. Think about this for just a second. I'm going to ask you a question. I want you to get ready to answer me. The question is going to be, who here has ever seen a cookie pop up on a website? No, not this kind of cookie, not a chocolate chip cookie. This kind of cookie that you see at the bottom. Cookies on your computer allow for tracking and retargeting. Therefore, users must give their consent. Give me a 1 in the chat box if you have seen something like what you're looking at the bottom there, where it says, we use cookies to enhance your browsing experience. By clicking accept all, you consent to our use of cookies. Give me a 1 in the chat box if you've seen that on a website. All right, good. Yeah, with no milk. I like that. And some of you already have that on your site. Okay, so here's the thing. Give me a 2 in the chat box if you've never seen that. If you've never seen a little flag that comes up and says, we are going to cookie you and we need your consent. Give me a 2. Not one of you. You see, that's the whole point. You know what this is, and businesses around the world know what this is. They already know about it, but they don't have it. So you're starting to notice them more and more, right? Because they're all over the place, but not everywhere. Because like I said before, it's becoming mandatory. Now, here's an example of how the world is changing with regards to cookie compliance. And it has to do with something called Google Consent Mode V2. Now, that lets people choose what information they share. All right. Google then adjusts what advertisements they show people based on their preferences. Now, every Google advertiser needs this for remarketing. If you don't have this on your website, then guess what? Google will not let you retarget your ads, or they'll take your money, but they won't show them. Here, when I say they actually are going to change it, let's look at that at the bottom again. It says, we value your privacy, and then you could reject all, you can accept all, or you can customize. That's the new thing that we need to absolutely drive home here. You could select what kind of cookies are being employed. And you'll see that more as we show you our software that's going to handle all this for you in just a moment. So you could be spending money on Google advertisements that aren't even being shown to your desired audience due to non-compliance. Now, imagine, not only are you in trouble with this, but imagine how many businesses aren't even aware of this and are running into this problem that can be solved so easily. But it's not just the cookies. Your business needs to be compliant, yes, with cookie consent, but also GDPR law. That's the General Data Protection Regulations, a strict law that mandates businesses to give control over user data to users. And DPO is another one. That's a regulation. It requires you to appoint a data protection officer and provide their contact details on your website. Non-compliance puts businesses at risk as well as limits your opportunities for marketing and growth. But hold on, stop just a moment. I know I've stressed you out a little bit because this could apply to you. But you're in the perfect place right now because this applies to everybody. And we have a solution that you can give other businesses, both online and offline. Usually we talk about local businesses and solving their problems, but this is for online businesses as well, like e-commerce. This is a really big opportunity for you to help businesses become compliant and make recurring income. Now, think about this. The most effective marketing is when there's a fear of loss. It's called loss aversion marketing. It's similar to fear of missing out. The loss aversion in marketing is a psychological principle that motivates people to take action because of fear of losing rather than gaining something. You can employ that so easily by just pointing out the facts. The fact is that folks need to be compliant, and we've got a solution that you can employ for other businesses. You see, people are already charging upwards of $40 monthly for compliance management services, right? So you could actually charge a business that much just to comply. Or there's another way you could make money from businesses, which I'll get to in just a moment, that's even more lucrative, and you get the money right away. By the way, I think the $40 a month is per website, so you can really see how that can multiply up. Now, frankly, this is already a $1 billion market, and you are in the perfect position right now to capitalize on that. And we have it for you. It's called ComplyFi, as you probably already know. It's the ultimate consent management platform. You see, with ComplyFi, you could become compliant in literally 60 seconds with one-click automation. You don't need to know the nitty-gritties of any laws. It adheres to all the regulations from cookie consent to consent mode. And I'm going to ask Cyril to come back in a second to explain that. And ComplyFi meets all the requirements. Now, it's easy to integrate Pixel. Now, Cyril, what I'd like you to do is explain to everyone what we've written down right here, which is the difference between cookie consent and consent mode, and also tell us how pixels are used. I know you said it's similar to a Facebook pixel. If you could explain that so that this becomes less technical and more fun.
Absolutely, Todd. I'm going to try and simplify it as much as I can. Well, thank you for bringing me in. So the first thing I think we need to identify is how the situation has evolved. Now, some of the privacy laws have been around for a while, but they've been changing. Nothing is static when it comes to government policy. And especially now when every single country in the world is a bit paranoid, if I can say that, about data privacy, about the data of their citizens falling in the wrong hands, and they have enacted all sorts of laws. And like you pointed out, this is a global phenomenon. US has it, UK has it, Europe has it, Australia has it, Japan, New Zealand, India, Brazil, Indonesia. In fact, these are the countries that we have mentioned, but nearly every single country of the world has a privacy law of some sort that tells you to put the data of the people in their own hands. That's what consent management is about. So this was some years earlier, and I saw even in the chat there was a gentleman who said, I have consent cookie on my cookie pop-up on my website. But I want to tell you this: you got an old solution that's not really current at all, that doesn't have the features that the systems that are needed by the current laws. The most important thing, cookie compliance is not just about having a pop-up on your screen and letting people click on allow or deny. That's not the actual thing anymore. The law says now that the visitor that you must allow the visitor to manage their consent. So if today, let's say I decided I'm going to allow all kinds of tracking, I must be able to come back tomorrow and change that. Now that is consent management, and this is the mandate today. Every website that deals with public, if you have a website, you have visitors data, then you have to make sure that you allow them to control their consent, control their choice, not just today but all across time, maybe definitely in the future too. The second thing is, you've also talked about Google Consent Mode V2, and I got to tell you that this star, Google is not alone. Every single website out there that deals with user data, they have been classified as gatekeepers, custodians of data, and they've been mandated with really, really strong requirements when it comes to user data management. I'm going to tell you very briefly and in very simple in terms, how exactly does cookie consent works. Well, Google says now that if you want to run Google ads and you want to target your site's visitors with those ads, we call it retargeting or remarketing. I'm sure many of you guys have seen this phenomenon when you kind of just think of a product and it appears in your Google ads. Well, that is the magic of remarketing, because Google can predict on the basis of the sites that you've been visiting what you need or what you're looking for, and it can show you the exact ads. Well, now Google must collect consent from you. So when you visit a website and that website is running ads, Google will require that website to send some consent signals, to send signals back that tell us whether the visitors of that site have agreed to get analytics and marketing data to or not. And that is managed by cookie consent v2. Microsoft has a similar thing, and any platform that does retargeting now has a similar thing, and ComplyFi lets you manage all of that. Now I'm going to talk about one-click automation. Here is the thing. This can get pretty complicated. As you can imagine, there are so many different laws all across the world. All of them have some sort of requirement, and things change a lot. Well, ComplyFi just puts you in compliance by default. So you don't need to change anything. All you need to do is put ComplyFi on your website, and ComplyFi will put you in compliance. But of course, it lets you change the behavior, and I'm sure you will see that in a short while, and you will be able to control everything too. That's number one. Secondly, the pixel, it's very easy to integrate ComplyFi on your website. It's just a matter of copying one line of code and putting it on your site. Now I'm sure many of you, or nearly every one of you, must have integrated Facebook pixels or Google Analytics or any other tracking code of that kind. Well, ComplyFi works on the same principle, same technology. All you need to do is grab one line of code, put it on your site, and ComplyFi will then make that site compliance compatible, or make it comply with the law, with the requirements of Google Consent Mode, Microsoft UET, and so many other regulations all across the world.
You know what's funny, Cyril? Now that I brought you in to actually explain all that, we're ready to see another Cyril, so to speak, a Cyril that recorded yesterday for you guys, a full demo of the inside. You guys ready to see that? Because Cyril has much more to say, but this time it's recorded. So let's go to that. I'm going to start it up. Let me go to my screen and change it over and get ready so you could see the inside on how this actually works as well.
Nowadays, when you browse the internet, you always run into pop-ups like these, which inform you that the website uses cookies, and maybe even gives you the option to select what kind of cookies they can put on your computer. And you can choose whether you want to allow the cookies, whether you want to choose which cookies you want, or deny everything. Well, this is called consent management, and it's the most important thing right now for you if you are an online business to be compliant with, because this will help you make sure that you can run your business online without any problems. At this point, consent management or consent compliance is required by law under many international legal frameworks, including, of course, the GDPR, which was the first one. But then in every single country, there are similar laws that ask you to make sure that your user is aware that you use cookies, and also you have collected consent from your visitors to put cookies on their computers. And of course, this also affects everything you do, including your Google ads and ads on other platforms. So if you're running ads, to be able to create remarketing lists now, if you remember what's remarketing, it's retargeting. To show them ads about your products, you need to collect consent from them. And on Google, this is called Google Consent Mode V2. So you're required to collect consent for ad personalization, without which Google will not let you collect data and let you create remarketing lists. Microsoft also has similar systems. They have something called the Microsoft Consent Mode, and they will not let you run retargeting. They will not let you collect data in remarketing lists and collect data about conversions if you have not collected consent. So how do you manage consent? How do you collect consent? Well, this is done by something called the consent management platform. And ComplyFi is the most powerful consent management platform out there that gets you in compliance with all those laws, including GDPR, something called the cookie law, the CCPA. There is a similar law from Brazil called LGPD. There is the Privacy Act in Australia, PIPEDA in Canada, POPIA in South Africa. In fact, every country from Japan to India has similar laws, and ComplyFi gets you in compliance with all of them, including Google's Consent Mode V2 and Microsoft Consent Mode and all other compliance requirements from all other platforms, to make sure that you can run your ads, you can conduct your business without any legal consequences and without any business or profit consequences. So let's get into ComplyFi and take a look at its powerful features. So the first thing, of course, you do is add your website. Just add your domain by typing in your domain name like a title, and then you can just put in your website URL and click on add website. The next thing ComplyFi does is pull out all the data from your website and check what cookies you're doing. So I've already added Technique Force, in fact, and I'm going to click on it because it's easier to show you that way. Technique Force has been added, the website URL is there, and then you can immediately access all the other sections like the consent banner. This is the banner that shows up on the website, and it's completely modifiable. You can change anything about it, like the title. Either change it on the left sidebar, which is provided to you, or just click on the item itself, click on the banner itself and change anything you want. So you can make it the exact way you want. On the sidebar, you can also select the language. So we support English and of course all the prominent languages from Europe where the consent laws and the GDPR is really, really big. You can make your consent pop-up appear in any language, and we have defaults, so you can choose to go with our defaults, which are suitable for most purposes, but of course you can customize them any way you want, just the way I showed you. So you have everything over here. For example, if you want to change the message to our site uses cookies, or absolutely anything you want. So you do it here or do it on the sidebar, it's up to you. Plus it has every feature you require to set up the correct consent pop-up for your website, and you can select anything. For example, if you want to go for vital analytics and marketing cookies, or if you want to introduce settings cookies, you can do that just by a single click like this. And you have a new section over here. You can also put in ungrouped cookies if you want to. So anything that you need to do on your consent pop-up is absolutely easy inside of ComplyFi. Change the message any way you want. Plus, you can also disable and enable checkboxes. So for example, vital cookies are something important and you don't want people to be able to disable it. So you can disable it, and people will not be able to turn off vital cookies. So it has got all the nuances covered like that, right, for every single category. And you can change the message that introduces the category. So if you have something specific you want to say here, absolutely you can do that. Plus ComplyFi also supports privacy policy link. You can either show the privacy policy or decide not to show it. And depending on the jurisdiction that you want to cover, you can choose what buttons to show. So if you want to show only the accept button and force people to allow all cookies, or you want to have allow all or decline, or if you want to let people customize the cookies, all of these options are available to you. Plus, you can decide exactly what jurisdictions to show them a particular setup. By the way, we do support customization of the templates, and we have a number of templates. We're gonna have more than 50 templates over here, and you can change the templates with just a single click and preview your compliance consent management box in the template that you want to choose. So you can go for the template that suits your website, that gels with your website, and that will look good on your website. So I'm going to go back to deep navy blue. Plus, it also has in-depth customization through HTML and CSS. Yes, you can modify the HTML and you can modify the CSS file to get the exact look you want. So if you are technically oriented, or you have a tech team, or you have a designer, you can give them access to the CSS and the HTML, and they can create the exact look they want. So that's also included. And you have multi-country compliance. You can choose to show a particular setup in a particular jurisdiction. Let's say you have created a consent management pop-up only for Africa. You can choose that. And you want to show a different pop-up in Europe and a different pop-up in North America and South America. All of that is possible. You can choose where you want to show each pop-up. And yes, you can have multiple pop-ups on your website, one for Africa, one for Asia, one for Europe, and people who come to your website from these different places will see the pop-up or see the consent experience that you have crafted for them for that particular region. That means you have complete control over compliance. You don't need to show it where you don't need to show it, and where you need to give people complete control, you can choose to do that. Plus, it has consent method management. You can choose for implied consent or explicit consent as required by law. Again, the defaults are set up and all done for you. The number one thing you need to remember is, if you go with the defaults, you will cover things globally and you won't need to do a very detailed setup. But if you want to do a complete specific setup, that's absolutely up to you. By the way, it's all about cookie consent. So ComplyFi automatically detects the cookie that your website is using, automatically categorizes them, but also lets you change anything you want. So if you want to change, let's say there is a cookie that you're using and you know it's for vital and not marketing, you can recategorize that cookie, right? And it will be changed. So that way you can manage, when people consent, what kind of cookies are conserved and what kind of cookies, if they don't want to accept those, are declined. Plus, you can also add your own cookies and also put the category that you want to choose for it. So again, it's for people who understand what cookie consent compliance is specifically for their website. Maybe you have a custom login experience. Maybe you have something specific going on with the cookies. Then you have got a custom website. You can put in your own experience, put in your own cookies over here, and give people the option to manage them. Then you also have privacy management. And this is about consent management. Here is the thing. The law says that your visitors should be able to change consent when they need to. For example, when somebody comes to your website for the first time, they decide to opt in. It doesn't give you a license to just store cookies on their computers forever. It means they have made a preference and they should be allowed to change the preference at any time they want. And that's the point of consent or cookie management. And if you go to a website that implements it correctly, like I'm going to show you in a second, like this one, you will not only show the pop-up. If you allow all, for example, on the website, you will see a little icon that you can click to manage your consent. So it shows you what exactly have you consented to right now. So I've consented to vital, analytics, and marketing cookies. It also has a unique cookie consent identifier that I can use to manage my consent, and I can change my consent anytime I want by clicking on change consent. So if for some reason now I want to change my consent, I can do that. And this is a prime requirement from a consent management platform. Of course, ComplyFi meets that. Plus, it also gives you data protection officer, which is an important part of GDPR compliance. If you're selling to Europe, for example, you need to be able to give people the access to manage the data. They should be able to make requests with your data protection officer. You need to make a public declaration about a data protection officer. It should be on your website. People should be able to access it, and people should be able to make requests to that data protection officer. So ComplyFi gives you the capability to set up a DPO section on your website and give people the complete information they want, including the capacity to make a claim. So yes, people can make a claim on your website. Let me try to show you that. Here we go. I'm going to allow all and change consent. There is a go to DPO section. So when your customers come in, They can see information about your DPO and also send messages to the DPO from your website. That's what's required, and ComplyFi gives you the power to comply with that. By the way, if you want to not show the DPO option, if you're operating in a jurisdiction or you have a separate setup for DPO and you don't want to show it to people, you can choose to not show it, and then people will not have access to go to the DPO section. Let's go to the top again. And finally, you have consent records. So ComplyFi manages the consent record of every single visitors who comes to your site. It will keep the IP address. There will be a unique ID assigned to each consent, the permissions that the user chose to give, the OS, the browser, the screen size, and the date when they decided to give you the consent. You can find any consent record by just putting in a few letters from the search, for example, like this. Click on search, and you can see all the consents that have the details, that have the UID that you put in. That way, if somebody makes a claim, you will get the consent details from them, and you can then use it to find out what they wanted to tell you. You can also search by IP if you want to. There is also a complaint record. So whenever somebody makes a complaint with you through the consent management DPO platform, you will get it in here. You will also receive an email. This is how the email looks. So you will know exactly what the customer said. This is just a test one right now, of course. So that way you will be able to adhere to the GDPR, to the cookie compliance, to the law that requires you to have a data protection officer. All of those would be covered. Plus, putting consent management, putting comprehensive compliance on your website is as easy as then copying a pixel code, just like you copy a Facebook pixel or a Google Analytics code, and putting it on your website. So just copy the code with the click of this button and paste it just above the body tag of your website. And that's all you need to do to create a complete consent management experience for you without having to do a lot of programming, a lot of computation, because ComplyFi just makes consent management easy so that you can run your ads and you can comply with all the local laws globally. By the way, ComplyFi automatically puts you in compliance with Google's Consent Mode V2, Microsoft UET, all done by itself. You don't need to change a thing. You don't need to do a thing. It just sends the right signals to these websites, to these providers automatically. So this was ComplyFi. I hope you like the software. And if you get it, I will see you inside. This is Cyril Gupta, your best friend in the business, signing off.
All right. Thank you, Cyril. And let me switch the screen back before I forget. Okay, so what we're going to do is actually we're going to bring Cyril back in just a moment because we're going to discuss some of the key features of ComplyFi. And by the way, did you enjoy that demo or what? Was that, did Cyril do a great job with that? Yeah, of course he did. Thanks. Thanks for your comments on that. Okay, so some of the key features include automation. Now, I'm going to let Cyril come back and actually explain all the automation tools that ComplyFi has, because this is his baby and he really understands this part of it. So Cyril, come explain this to me.
Absolutely. Thanks, Todd. And I really hope you enjoyed the demo, guys. Now, this really tells you that ComplyFi is by far the most advanced cookie consent management platform out there. So it takes really the hard work out of cookie consent. Now, here is what happens. If you're using some kind of widget or tracking code or advertising or any kind of third-party tools on your website, or you are, you have a login system, or you have a system where customers can, interact with the website in some manner just beyond a static HTML page, you are using cookies. Now, you are supposed to let people consent to being, to place a cookie on their computers, but you will need to know exactly what cookies you're using and what cookies the third-party applications are using too. And it's a bit of a technical work. And if you have to do it yourself, it can take a lot of time. And of course, it's difficult, and you will have to learn or know technical stuff. Well, with ComplyFi, you don't have to, because the first thing ComplyFi does is it will detect the cookies that your website is using on full automation. It will automatically go to your website just like a real user, check out what cookies you are using, and then bring them back and put them in the right category. Yes, that's very important. because your tracking should divide the cookies in categories like vital cookies that are required to run your website, marketing cookies, analytics cookies, settings, and categories like that. Well, ComplyFi has a huge database of cookies that's filled with stuff that it knows about, and it can automatically categorize the cookies that are on your website. And when your user comes in, they will be able to make the right choices, and ComplyFi can store the right choices on the computer, plus tell Google or any other related party, any other interested party, that this is the choice that that visitor made, and that is 100% automated for you. You don't need to do a single thing. So again, the aim is to let you become compliant with everything with just one click that is integrated in on your website, and that's about it. The second thing I've already talked about, automatic categorization. It will take the hard work out of that, but you do have control. So if there is a cookie that you want to categorize yourself, you can just go into the ComplyFi admin like you saw and change the category if you want to. Now, beyond that, your website changes all the time depending on what you're doing. So if you're adding new sections, you're adding new systems or new integrations, your website might change, and you then have to make sure that you are still in compliance. Well, ComplyFi does that on autopilot because it periodically checks your site for changes, and if it finds any changes, if it finds any changes in cookie behavior, it automatically records that so that your visitors will be shown the correct data. Plus, you can go into the website and order a rescan yourself. So, it's 100% compatible. It's 100% easy. You don't need to do a single thing to make this happen. It kind of does everything on autopilot. That's what automation is about.
All right, thank you. And in addition, we have templates for you. You could choose from a variety of different template designs and toggle designs with just one click. You could change the design and see a live preview of your consent pop-up. So you can actually change the way it looks. In fact, for this very launch, we wanted to make a last minute change. We changed our cookie compliance, our little box. So it's a fully customizable consent pop-up, unique identifier for user consent. Tell us what this means, Cyril.
Absolutely. So how do you actually know what user consented to what sort of preferences? Well, this is maintained by making sure that when your user chooses something, they can be uniquely identified. So ComplyFi has a unique identifier system. When a user makes a choice, their choice is recorded with a unique identifier. When they come back in and they change their choice, that is reflected in the system. The user is actually identified and updated. So Google consent also is changes accordingly. And everything is tracked because that's very important. Now, if somebody makes a request to you about their own privacy data, or asks you what data you have on them, you can easily find that information using the unique ID. By the way, that ID is also visible to the customer. So that is unique identifier. It's very important to have a unique identifier for every user that comes in. And if your if your consent system, whatever you have there now, if it doesn't have that, that's the first warning that it's already obsolete. It's been obsolete for months because this changed in March 2024. If you have not updated your compliance system, well, it's time to do so, because now you need to have consent management, and the unique identifier enables that. And of course, I talked about consent management. That's the second part, allows consent modification. It's very important, and you need to know that your users should be able to change consent. It's just how things work in the real world. If you say yes to something, tomorrow you should be able to come back and say, hey, I've changed my mind. Now I don't want you to track me. And ComplyFi enables your visitors to do that through the consent modification system. So it's a complete compliance tool from A to Z. It's compatible with the current system, the current legal framework. And like, of course, I've been known to, I will make sure that this product keeps being in compliance as the legal frameworks change, as the requirements change. We'll just keep updating it and adding new features and new systems that are required by law, and also by gatekeepers like Facebook or Google or whoever else.
And not only that, but you could change the pop-ups for different regions because, you basically want to, adapt to the law of that particular country. So you could show different pop-ups to different visitors depending on where they're from. You could show the required options to your audience, customize the appearance and the data collection, collect only the data that is allowed and required in every country. Now, speaking of every country, you could further adapt this to users everywhere around the globe because it's multilingual. It works with all languages globally. No matter what language your customers speak, ComplyFi actually supports it. And it has retargeting support. So you know what? I hate to bring you back because I know what retargeting is, Cyril, but you've done it so often and you've been so frustrated by this particular subject that folks run into this. Tell us about the retargeting support.
Absolutely, Todd. You're absolutely correct. I've been frustrated about this, and I will tell you a little story about how this software was actually born. But before I do that, you just struck a chord with me. You were talking about earlier how people can target different regions with different kind of pop-ups, different experiences. I did show some of that in my demo too, but beyond that, we've also integrated some really cool things in it. For example, there is an AI in it. So let's say you've got a consent system that you've set up, your language is English, you have put in the text that you want to make it sync or gel with the language or the style that you have on your website in English, but now you want to show it to audience the world over. Now you want to show it to the Portuguese people, you want to show it to the Brazilians, to the French, to the Indonesians, anywhere in the world. What do? Do you show them the same English content? Well, the better thing to do is to show them local language versions of your content compliance, systems or text. And with ComplyFi, and this is the only software, by the way, that does this, you can just use a button. You can click one button and it will use the latest and the best AIs to automatically translate your content from the language that you set it up in to the language that you want to target with just one click using the best AI. It's not Google Translate, it's the latest versions of OpenAI. So you get really, really good translation. And your visitors, when they come to your website, they get native quality experience. So that's the kind of discerning systems we've built in. And retargeting is something like that. You want to target the people with the thing they can relate to, the thing they want, and the thing that they have shown interest in. That's how you sell online. Now, I've been retargeting for years now. Ever since I started selling, ever since I placed my first ad, it was about 8 or 9 years ago, I have made retargeting the most important focal point. And I can tell you this, Todd, most of my sales from my ads have come from retargeting. And there's several reasons. Firstly, when you show the ad to people who are already interested in the product that you are selling, the response rate is so much higher. Also, they've come to your website once, they were interested in the product, they didn't buy for some reason, maybe they're gone now, but you just show them the ad, they remember, hey, this is something I really liked, I want to check it out again. And the next time, the motivation to purchase is so much more when people come to your website by clicking on your ad. So retargeting is absolutely important. Now, last year, my world kind of crashed down when I found that Google will not let me retarget my ads. And they told me, if you want to retarget, well, you gotta get consent mode V2. And then I went out and checked how to implement it, and I found that any consent platform that is going to let me do this is charging me upwards of $40 a month, because I do have traffic and I have 30 domains. 30. So if I'm paying $40 per domain for 30 domains, it's like $1,200 a month. Why would I do that? So that's when I decided this is a problem that I need to solve, not just for myself, but for everyone else, by giving people an affordable consent management solution. And ComplyFi is exactly that, because you get consent management that you can really scale up. I'm talking about even hundreds of domains. You can implement it for just pennies. When I talk about the cost, or when Todd talks about the cost, you will be blown away. But the difference is in magnitude. You can't really do with any other platform what you can do with ComplyFi, which is being able to use it for yourself and also take it to every other business around you. And everybody needs this. Local businesses need this, because when they have a website, they're already required to comply by law, right? If you got a website, you got to request, you've got to respect privacy, you got to respect the law. So everybody needs it. And when you show them how simple and easy the solution is, plus it's mandated, it's the easiest thing to sell. So that's number one. Second, automatic and transparent data submission. I told you about that a little while ago, because if you have to do things manually, if you got to implement things manually, then it's just not practical, feasible. We are not all programmers. Now, I was able to get over some of the issues by coding and stuff, but we shouldn't be forced to do that. So ComplyFi has everything inbuilt. It sends the right signals to Google, it sends the right signals to Microsoft, and it stores the data on your computer and also on our servers in absolutely the compliant way. For example, somebody here asked me, what kind of data do you store on the server? Well, we are compliant with ComplyFi, of course. That means we don't store any user specific data beyond the identity code and other information that is required to give them consent management. So that's the kind of work we've done to make it 100% one click compatible with all the requirements, not just the legal requirements, but also all the requirements by the gatekeepers like Google, Microsoft, and so on. All right, we're already in the next slide. I guess, Todd, you're going to take this one.
Yes, I certainly am, because I want to show people just how fast everything is. It has high-speed performance. It's reliable, perfect uptime to make sure your website is always secure. With high-speed servers, your website does not slow down due to ComplyFi. In fact, on our sales page right now, when you take a look at it, here's an example on the bottom of one of the, ComplyFi cookie management, where it allows you to allow all, deny all, or customize. But in addition, I just want to show you how quickly this actually loads. Let's see, I'll do toddsuggest.com/ComplyFi. All right, it's loaded already. All right, and this, the first time as well, it loaded that quickly. And I just wanted to point out that this is for real in terms of how I went to the wrong graphic. There we go. Just for real, how quickly it loads. It just is so impressive. And Cyril, congratulations on getting that done in terms of the speed. Very, very impressive. I can get my screen.
Thanks, Todd. I want to tell you a quick secret. This was one of the most challenging aspects of developing ComplyFi, how to make it scalable, how to make it high performance across thousands of visitors who could be visiting the website at any single moment, across all the websites that it needs to serve. So, well, I did things totally differently. ComplyFi practically runs on AWS S3 servers. It's infinitely scalable. The speed that it has is insane. So it's AWS, Amazon S3, it's got a global footprint. It just is blazing fast. And I'm proud to say this is faster than any other similar solution in the market, because nobody had the idea, or they didn't design the solution in a manner where they were able to utilize the systems that I utilized.
All right, so let me just do a little summary here. If my screen is flashing, I apologize. I've got it stable now. There's no more complicated headache-inducing setup with this. I mean, this is really simple, as Cyril has pointed out. It takes only 60 seconds. With ComplyFi, it's automated, it's one click, and it's easy. There's no more wasting money on retargeting ads that don't get seen, because you fix that situation. You ensure that your retargeting reaches your desired audiences. And there's no more stressing about complying with ever-changing laws and regulations, because with ComplyFi, you feel assured that you and your clients' sites are compliant. So that's really important. I can't stress that enough, that even though it's nice to have for your business, the opportunity to make money from this is just limitless. With ComplyFi, you don't have to worry about consent compliance management again. Better yet, not only will you be able to ensure compliance on your own sites, but as I've been telling you, you could sell your services to others. You could actually sell ComplyFi itself as well. And you'll hear about that in just a second, how you could do that. Today, for all of you attending this special launch webinar, we have put together an amazing package deal. Absolutely ridiculously low priced. So let's take a look at everything that is being offered here today, now that we've gone over the whole system. First of all, you can purchase either ComplyFi Elite on its own, or in this webinar, we have a special package deal where you get so much more that is like a no-brainer. So the actual front end package, as it's called, or the main package, or should I say the main software, is ComplyFi itself, the ultimate consent management platform with GDPR, DMA, and Google Consent Mode V2 compliance for 3 websites and 20,000 visitors per website per month. Now, this is something that we'd recommend, for instance, if you're doing this just for yourself. However, you could pick and choose upgrades if you want by actually purchasing this, or all these things I'm about to show you are included in our all-inclusive package. ComplyFi Pro. Now, that means all the features we've already spoke about, but this time you have customizable themes, 100 websites, 50,000 visitors per website per month, 2 years of free upgrades. So as things change, of course, you will be upgraded with this new software, and the commercial license, which lets you sell this to other businesses in terms of your services. All right. If you want to sell the actual software, well, hang on to your hats, because we have another option for that too. Then there's the ComplyFi Done For You service included. What? For you, we're going to do 10 of your sites. Now, this is included in the all-inclusive package, or you can get this individually if you go through the funnel, so to speak. Now, what this means is you could get 10 websites made compliant by our team, completely done for you, so you don't have to worry about anything at all. Even though it's easy to set up, it's now even easier, because 10 websites can be done by our team. I can't even believe when I spoke to Cyril and he said that his team was doing this. I said, are you crazy? You know how many sites they'll have to set up? He says, we can handle it. We have the infrastructure to handle 10 sites per client. Fantastic. Then we have something called Converti Pro. That's another option. I'm saving perhaps the best for last that's included in the all-inclusive package, but Converti Pro is all different kinds of conversion boosters. Now, Cyril, come back and explain what kind of conversion boosters you're talking about.
Absolutely. Well, Todd, I gotta say, every kind. Now, Converti, when we designed Converti, the idea was to make a comprehensive solution that can fit any need and make sure no matter what your objective is, whether you want to get leads, whether you want to get more sales, whether you want to improve the engagement, motivate the customer to interact with you, whatever you want to do, you should have the right tools to do that. Now, very basic things like exit pop, of course, it has that. It has got a notification system which allows you to get leads. It's got spinners. It's got the use proof kind of a thing which lets you tell people, hey, this person has just bought the product and they're from here, so why don't you buy it too? It also has things like how many people are talking to your website or visiting your website right now. All kinds of widgets that you can put on top of your website and attain the objective you want. Now, I got to tell you, I've been using Converti 2 on my websites. If you are somebody who's been visiting my websites earlier, you must have seen Converti pop up. It's on every single website that I have, and it's been getting me leads nonstop. I'm talking about 20 leads, 30 leads per day, just by having that pop up, by converting that traffic into leads. And I've been able to turn that into sales. In fact, the first thing we do every day is get those leads and send them out, mail outs about our products, about our offers, and it has generated so much sales by not changing anything, just putting that little thing on the website and just letting it work on its own. So again, 40 different widgets. It's more comprehensive. It's better than any other tool in the market of this in the same niche, because again, that's what I do whenever I create or design something. My aim is to beat the competition by a long margin, and Converti is the best tool to have when it comes to having widgets that can help you get conversions.
Yeah.
All
Yeah, I'm here. I just was like shaking my head. I didn't realize you had it on every one of your sites, Cyril. That's wild. And it reminded me to just bring home the point that everything that you've created, you're using. You're using ComplyFi, you're using Converti, everything. All right, folks, I saved the best for last. And this is an option that actually is included, which to me is ridiculous. The team did this without my permission. They included a lot for very, very low cost. And I'm still shaking my head at how low everything is going to run. But the last option, the last upgrade that's also included is the ComplyFi reseller. You actually get 70 ComplyFi licenses that you can resell. You could resell the actual software itself. Now, that's over an $8,000 value. These are perpetual licenses. I'll let Cyril explain what that means in a moment and where he came up with the $8,000. You could sell them anytime you want. Customers get the latest version. Now, before I bring Cyril back on, let me point out that this means that with ComplyFi, you have two ways to make money. One is to offer your services to perform the compliance for the business. Or the second way is to actually sell the software itself with these reseller licenses. So I hope that I'm very clear about this. There's two separate ways that you can profit from this amazing software, in addition to saving yourself a whole lot of headaches by not having to worry about the compliance issues on your site. Now, Cyril, come on back, explain two things. Where did you come up with $8,000? And what do you mean by perpetual licenses?
Absolutely. Well, Todd, the math is very simple. When you buy the reseller version, you get 70 licenses to sell. And here is the thing. Right now, I'm selling this product for a one-time price, but right after the launch, when you will be eligible to sell this yourself, the price is going to become recurring and it's going to be a lot higher. First thing, there's going to be no all-inclusive version. So the only version that people can buy will be the front end, the elite version, the pro upgrade, and they're going to be priced at a minimum of $164 per year and about $40 a month if people buy both the version, both the upgrades. And it's going to be quite an expensive proposition for people to buy from me, because that's how I like to get paid month after month. And if somebody misses the launch, well, they're gonna be having to pay me a better amount and pay me recurring. That's how I make real money after the launch is over. Now, the thing is, I give you a better deal and I let you give a better deal to your customers. So here is how it works. Firstly, all the licenses that you have are perpetual. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. Now, I don't know if you've sold any of my products before. I know many of you have made it quite a business. I've got a huge number of products. People have always been able to get them on my launches and then sell them over and over, not just for months or years, but even for a decade. For example, one of my products, TubeRank Jeet, is about 10 years old. And if somebody had an agency version on it, they can still sell a license and give their customers access to what I have today. That's the kind of perpetuality or the kind of power, longevity that I have in my licenses. So you can be sure that you're going to make that money back without a problem, because this product is not going obsolete. I'll maintain it this year. I will maintain it the next year. And you can be sure that if anybody needs consent management today, tomorrow, next week or next month, or even after that, you will be able to provide it to them. You'll be able to sell it to them with conviction and get money from them. So your investment is always secure. Number two, do the math. If you were to charge just $120 per license and sell it at a one time, beating my price by quite a margin. This is so easy to sell at that price, especially when you realize that I will be charging my customers for the same thing $164 per year. And you could easily go to them and tell them, hey, if you want to buy from Cyril, he's going to charge you $164 and I will give you the same product for $200 one time. Well, I let you do that. Yes, it's absolutely legal. I permit you to do that, and you can sell my product to my customers and make your money without having to pay me a single cent. Do the math. 70 multiplied by 200. Even if you miss that, you just go to 120, you even undercut me by a fat margin, even then you're going to make north of $8,000 when all the licenses are sold. That's what the math is all about. It's about getting a huge magnitude in profit, not just a 2x or 5x multiplier. This is the 10x multiplier, and that's always what you want to look for when you want to profit the most.
Wow. Now let's review then everything that you're getting here in this all-inclusive deal. That's very, very, focused on this webinar, because you guys get a chance to grab that all-inclusive deal. It includes all those upgrades, right? It included the base product, which is the Elite. Then it included the Pro, which meant, that you could have 50,000 visitors per month, etc. Then it had the done for you option, right? It includes that. It includes Converti Pro, which is all those website tools for conversions that Cyril went over just a moment ago. And it includes the reseller, so that you have the 70 licenses that you could resell of the software. That's amazing. So let's talk about what is included then, because you've got all those things, or you're about to get all those things. You get 100 websites with 50,000 visitors per website, right? 50,000 monthly visitors. It scans over 250 pages per website. 250 pages, those websites would be huge. Unlimited AI translation is also included, so all the languages work. You get the 70 reseller licenses as well. That's right. So all that is included. Now, get ready, because I am going to tell you, I'm going to answer some of your questions too in just a minute about how you could get even more reseller licenses, etc. But I am going to tell you how much all this stuff is running on this special deal on this very special webinar today. Would you like to take a guess at what it could possibly be for the all-inclusive deal? Just take a guess, because I've told you it's really low, but you see how much you're getting. So there's kind of a cognitive dissonance here. There's in your brain, you're saying, wait a minute, I'm getting all that, but he's saying it doesn't cost that much. What could it possibly be? Yeah, folks are guessing like Roland, $699. No, it's $190 if you go to this right now. ToddSuggests.com/ComplyFi now. That's ToddSuggests.com/ComplyFi now. It's a fantastic, fantastic deal. The special all-inclusive deal includes the Pro, includes the done for you, the Converti Pro, and the reseller. Now, you will see on that site the option to get just the Elite if you just want this for your own site. Okay, that is an option. It costs less, and you will run into that. But we obviously are recommending that you get everything here. Now, we do have more than just that in there, because a few of you have expressed concern that there's not enough reseller licenses. So once you're inside and getting this amazing package, you also will be given the choice to get 140 additional reseller licenses, bringing you to 210 total. All right. And that's only $97. And option number 2, or bump number 2, once you're on the inside, is the option to increase your monthly site visitors from 50,000 to unlimited. So in other words, if you're going to be dealing with businesses that are large and have more than 50,000 site visitors per month, then you want to get that order bump as well. So that's how we were able to make it so affordable, is to give you just about everything you could imagine for $190 one time, including the ability to resell, the ability to have 10 sites set up for you, the ability to have, all those websites, 100 with 50,000 per month, all that for $190. And the way that we're able to give you that incredibly low price is to offer the few of you that do want the additional licenses an extra order bump. And those of you that do think you'll be working with sites that get more than $50,000 a month, the chance there as well to bump up your order. And that's how we were able to get that price to such an incredible, incredible bargain for you. And I know that a lot of folks just can't believe that we priced it so low. I couldn't believe it when I first saw it, and I was giving my team a bit of a hard time, but then they reminded me how we put the entire deal together. In addition to all that, you get some really valuable bonuses. And then we'll also do a contest, and then I'll remind you that we have webinar attendee bonuses for you just for sticking it out and staying with us here. But when you purchase, you also get a very interesting bonus. You get the Compliance Agency Kickstart Pack. Now, that are done for you templates that are very important. They're proposal templates because you'll be approaching businesses and you want to make a proposal for them and remind them about the fact that they are sitting ducks waiting to be, you know, kind of choked here, and you have the solution for them. We also have a client outreach email template, so not just the proposal template, but the email template, so you can send them emails, proven high converting email scripts to reach businesses needing compliance services. And finally, how to close this all, you know, the overall blueprint on how to close this, a structured sales approach to position compliance as a must-have and handle objections effectively. We tell you how to do all that. And by the way, when I go through each slide here, look at the bottom. Don't forget, it's toddsuggests.com/ComplyFi now to get in on all this. And let us know in the question answer box when you do jump in, because I want to see if we could give some shout outs. I'm not sure we'll get a chance to, but we're going to certainly try. So I just want to make it clear that you could ask questions right now about the deal in the question answer box. We'll be answering in just a moment. I'm going to have a contest where I'm going to offer a reimbursement on that $190. So you'll get $50 off the $190 as a complete reimbursement if you get the answer correct and we select you from the correct answers. So once again, $190 one time, included all that stuff. toddsuggests.com/ComplyFi now. And I will tell you the webinar attendee bonus as well in just a couple of minutes. So hang in there. All right, here's how the contest works. I ask you a question from something that was discussed earlier in the webinar. And then what we do is we take from the correct answers, we actually are going to randomly pick one. And then of that one that we pick, we're going to have you send us your receipt and your PayPal email. So we'll be able to send you a $50 reimbursement on your purchase. All right. So everybody come back to the keyboard. You should already be at your keyboard purchasing right now at toddsuggests.com/ComplyFi now. But come back to the keyboard as well, because I'm going to run that contest with you in just a sec. Right before I run the contest, I'm just going to check the question answer box and see what kind of questions you are coming up with in case I could help. Not just in terms of the folks that are answering your questions in the box now, but if I could help as well. Okay, Carl is in, Deborah's in, Lloyd is in. Thank you very much. All right, you seem to be all set. You're getting your questions answered in there. Very, very good. All right, so let me think of a good question from the webinar. I'm still thinking. I'm still here.
Okay, I'm gonna take a minute, Todd, while you think, and tell people about the amazing reseller bumps. Have we talked about that?
Sure. Yes, I did briefly, but why don't you explain that? Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna do that, and I'll give you all the time you need to think. Then, awesome. So, guys, many people have been asking me. For example, Dale says, "What happens to the extra 100 sites that I own?" And I know many of you are
good sellers, you understand the potential of the product, you do see that it applies to every single website out there. Every business needs this, and that's why you've been seeing it all over, right? Every business has it, and still the small businesses are still getting to that place where they are, waking up to the fact that they require it, and you can show it to them very easily and convince them that this is something you need, and get them to get it right away. But the point is, you need to have enough licenses to sell. Like, I'm giving you 70, and I've told you the math that it's easy to make up to $8,000 if you sell all those 70 licenses. But you can sell a lot more, because again, all of the licenses that you grab here are perpetual licenses. Number two, when we close this sale, in right after the launch sale is over, the all-inclusive deal is going away, and the reseller deal is also going away. So you won't be able to buy reseller licenses after that. I'm sorry to say, but that's how it is. After the launch sale, I want people to discover the product. When they discover the product through my ads or my promotions, I want them to pay me all the money. I don't want to share with you after that time. So this is a special launch sale. On this sale, you can grab reseller bumps. So how it happens when you grab the reseller bump is you get 140 more licenses right away. So you will have 210 licenses to sell. And what's even better, and that's what we experienced in yesterday's webinar, there were dozens of people who grabbed multiple bumps. So if you want to grab another 140, you can just buy the bump once more. It's at a ridiculous price, $97 for 140 licenses. That's less than $1 per license. I think it comes to about 70 cents. Look at the multiplier, look at the magnitude, how much more you can sell the license for. You gotta have to pay only 70 cents for it. So again, you can buy it multiple times. I had people on the last webinar buy 3, even 4 bumps just to get all those licenses. One gentleman walked away with 500 licenses to sell. I'm sure he's already at work preparing his marketing strategy. You can email, you can do social media, you can tell your friends about it, you can post in groups. There are so many different amazing strategies to monetize these licenses, and you can sell them any point of time you want. So again, guys, grab this all inclusive. It's not going to be here after this launch sale. Grab the reseller bumps, as many as you can, because these are going away too, and each reseller bump gives you 140 licenses to sell. So if you need the link to the reseller bump, because when you purchase, you will have the option to buy it once, use that. And if you want to buy again, or you want to buy unlimited after that, after you've purchased, just let us know that you bought, and we'll give you a direct link to reseller bump in the conversation, in the private chat, so that you will be able to go and buy more bumps. That was my message to you. Now over to you, Todd, if you have decided.
Yeah, I
what's the
decided on what
question.
question to ask them. The reason I got hung up there for a second is usually I mention something personal and I ask about that, but I wanted it to be more related to the actual product itself and something about the product or about this whole, venue. So basically, I do have the question ready. So everybody come back to the keyboard, and here it is. And by the way, what Cyril just said about the 140 extra licenses that you could get that on the inside, that's really cool, because that means you'll have 210 altogether. But what he was referring to is other people in the past wanted even more than that. So they kept purchasing that over and over again, 140 and 140, 140. And those people sold all of those, of course, and made a lot of money. So that's a possibility. And in order to achieve that, what Cyril meant was just put it in the question answer box that you'd like to purchase more than just one bump of reseller licenses, and we'll be able to get you that link in your question answer box. Okay, so here's the question. Earlier in the webinar, and again, when you answer, remember, I'm going to pick from the correct answers. I'm going to just pick randomly, and then you'll be one of our $50 winners. You get a $50, reimbursement to your purchase. So we said that it's estimated that more than blank % of websites don't have a cookies policy page that complies with GDPR. The blank, I need you to fill that in. More than how many % of websites do not have a cookies policy page that complies with GDPR? I mentioned this early in the webinar, that a certain percentage of websites don't have anything. What is that percentage? Do 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 do. And the winner is Stephen Pye, 95%. Most of you got the right answer. I'd say about 12 of you, about another 10 got the wrong answer, with guesses from 75 to 80 to 97 to 91. This is specifically mentioned by me earlier in the website, in the broadcast. So, Stephen, what I need you to do is take your purchase of ComplyFi, actually get your receipt, your PayPal receipt, and then we need you to send it to yourgreenscreenguy@gmail.com along with your PayPal email. All right, so let's put that in the chat box. Your green screen guy. Let's see if I could beat Luann this time. Your green screen guy@gmail.com. I think I beat her. Luann, I beat you. I put it in the chat box before you did. And also tell Stephen if you could write to Stephen directly. I think I'm going to beat you again. Your green screen guy@gmail.com. I put it in first, Luann. Okay, what basically I'm rambling about is Luann and I always rush to get to the person first and tell them where to send the receipt, the PayPal email, and the receipt. And Stephen, we'll give you $50 back direct to your PayPal for doing that. And we'll see if we have time for another one later. What was that, Luann?
I was on mute, so you didn't hear me. I had already put it in the chat. To him.
I don't know. It's showing up in my chat. It shows me first.
No, I mean in the questions box. I had already put it there. Yeah.
Okay, so that's a little personal competition between me and Luann.
Yes.
All right, so everybody, it's toddsuggest.com/ComplyFi now, and congratulations to Steve. And Steve says, thank you. Oh, you're quite welcome. It's our pleasure. All right, and we have some good questions coming in. Can I upgrade before the launch is over? Matthew, can somebody go in there and answer Matthew and get clear from him what kind of upgrade he wants to do? Because that may depend on the answer. All right, and then Dave has a good question. So I would need to create multiple accounts with multiple logins. If somebody could get in there and answer Dave's question too. What is available to promote reseller product? Maybe this webinar. Oh, so Ron has a really good question. What are we offering him so that it will make it easier for him to resell this product? All right, so he's got the product. He's already picturing in his mind. He's purchased the reseller license. Now, how does he go to the business and sell the product to the business? What are we offering him to make that easier? Cyril, Shannon, if you guys could help Ron out with that very excellent question.
I will step in. I thought you were going to take that one, Todd. So here is the thing. We have a complete package to help you sell this. It's not just one thing. So the first thing, of course, we're going to give you a ready-made sales page. So imagine this. You don't have to write the copy. You don't have to pay a designer. We're going to give you a ready-made sales page that you can put up. All you need to do is put up on that page your buy button. You can get paid by Stripe, by PayPal, but whatever you want, and let people purchase. So you don't have to do any of that work. That's number one. Secondly, we have a lot of training in here that can help you understand how to sell it. And we also have a readiness guide. So it actually tells you what questions to ask the prospects, how to guide them to a place where they will want to purchase. So we have the entire strategy laid out for you too. And by the way, this is all groundwork of Shannon's work. He's done an excellent guide that tells you exactly how to sell this product. We give you the sales page to sell that product, and all you need to do is drive some traffic. And again, as we pointed out earlier, you can drive traffic any way you want. If you've got a list, mail to them. If you want to post in groups, you could do that. You can post on your X profile, on your Facebook profile, or Instagram. You can make YouTube videos about this product. You can write about this on your blog. So many different ways. Promote it whatever way you want. And the sales part, it's already figured out for you. The questions, the strategy, the sales page, it's all done for you. And if you need anything else, let us know and we'll see if we can hand it out to you.
That was
I'm
a
talking
really
about-
good question, by the way, Ron. I mean, that shows that you're thinking ahead on this, and I really appreciated it. All right, so I promise, just for staying, you're going to be getting a rather valuable bonus here. Usually we just come up with something like our redirector or something like that, some software here and there that you could use, but this is actually very targeted to this exact subject. So just for being on this webinar and hanging out with us for an hour and 23 minutes or an hour and 20, we are going to give you a compliance audit checklist. We're actually going to send this to you next week on Monday, roughly, where we identify hidden compliance risks on your website, or you will be able to identify them by using the checklist. You'll be able to check if your site meets GDPR, CCPA, and Google Consent Mode V2 standards. You'll be able to avoid fines and ensure your ad tracking continues to work smoothly and doesn't get, interrupted by Google. And how to take immediate action to fix non-compliance issues. We'll actually have that checklist for you without you even having to purchase this. All right. You don't have to purchase ComplyFi to get the compliance audit checklist. You will be getting that just because you stayed on the webinar. And we really appreciate that you did and heard us out. And if you want to purchase, of course, it's toddsuggests.com/ComplyFi now. That's toddsuggests.com/ComplyFi now. And it's only $190 for that entire package. The Pro, the Done For You, the Converti Pro, the Reseller, and then you have some options once you're in there. Even when you get the package, you can expand and get 140 additional reseller licenses for only $97. Now, if you want even more than 140 additional, contact us in the question answer box. And you also have another bump, so to speak, as well. You can increase your monthly site visitors from 50,000 to unlimited as well. That's a separate order bump that is in there. So keep that in mind. Now, would you guys like to see the demo that Cyril actually showed of the software again while you're going to purchase right now? Because remember, your link to purchase is here, toddsuggests.com/ComplyFi now. But I could actually show you the demo again if you want to see it. So let me sort of get a, do you want your, because you could still ask questions in the question answer box when the demo runs. So Don says yes. Lloyd says thank you, yes. All right, so we're going to run that one more time. It runs about 12 or 13 minutes. And then after that, we'll come back and answer more of your questions. So hang in there. Let's show this right now.
Nowadays, when you browse the internet, you always run into pop-ups like these, which inform you that the website uses cookies and maybe even gives you the option to select what kind of cookies they can put on your computer. And you can choose whether you want to allow the cookies, whether you want to choose which cookies you want, or deny everything. Well, this is called consent management, and it's the most important thing right now for you if you are an online business to be compliant with, because this will help you make sure that you can run your business online without any problems. At this point, consent management or consent compliance is required by law under many international legal frameworks, including, of course, the GDPR, which was the first one. But then in every single country, there are similar laws that ask you to make sure that your user is aware that you use cookies, and also you have collected consent from your visitors to put cookies on their computers. And of course, this also affects everything you do, including your Google ads and ads on other platforms. So if you're running ads, to be able to create remarketing lists now, if you remember what remarketing is, retargeting, to show them ads about your products, you need to collect consent from them. And on Google, this is called Google Consent Mode V2. So you're required to collect consent for ad personalization, without which Google will not let you collect data and let you create remarketing lists. Microsoft also has similar systems. They have something called the Microsoft consent mode, and they will not let you run retargeting. They will not let you collect data in remarketing lists and collect data about conversions if you have not collected consent. So how do you manage consent? How do you collect consent? Well, this is done by something called the consent management platform. And ComplyFi is the most powerful consent management platform out there that gets you in compliance with all those laws, including GDPR, something called the cookie law, the CCPA. There is a similar law from Brazil called LGPD. There is the Privacy Act in Australia, PIPEDA in Canada, POPIA in South Africa. In fact, every country from Japan to India has similar laws, and ComplyFi gets you in compliance with all of them, including Google's consent mode V2 and Microsoft consent mode and all other compliance requirements from all other platforms to make sure that you can run your ads, you can conduct your business without any legal consequences and without any business or profit consequences. So let's get into ComplyFi and take a look at its powerful features. So the first thing, of course, you do is add your website. Just add your domain by typing in your domain name like a title, and then you can just put in your website URL and click on add website. The next thing ComplyFi does is pull out all the data from your website and check what cookies you're doing. So I've already added Technique Force, in fact, and I'm going to click on it because it's easier to show you that way. Technique Force has been added, the website URL is there, and then you can immediately access all the other sections like the consent banner. This is the banner that shows up on the website, and it's completely modifiable. You can change anything about it, like the title. Either change it on the left sidebar, which is provided to you, or just click on the item itself, click on the banner itself and change anything you want. So you can make it the exact way you want. On the sidebar, you can also select the language. So we support English and of course all the prominent languages from Europe where the consent laws and the GDPR is really, really big. You can make your consent pop-up appear in any language, and we have defaults, so you can choose to go with our defaults, which are suitable for most purposes, but of course you can customize them any way you want, just the way I showed you. So you have everything over here. For example, if you want to change the message to our site uses cookies, or absolutely anything you want. So you do it here or do it on the sidebar, it's up to you. Plus it has every feature you require to set up the correct consent pop-up for your website, and you can select anything. For example, if you want to go for vital analytics and marketing cookies, or if you want to introduce settings cookies, you can do that just by a single click like this. And you have a new section over here. You can also put in ungrouped cookies if you want to. So anything that you need to do on your consent pop-up is absolutely easy inside of ComplyFi. Change the message any way you want. Plus you can also disable and enable checkboxes. So for example, vital cookies are something important and you don't want people to be able to disable it. So you can disable it, and people will not be able to turn off vital cookies. So it has got all the nuances covered like that, right, for every single category. And you can change the message that introduces the category. So if you have something specific you want to say here, absolutely you can do that. Plus ComplyFi also supports privacy policy link. You can either show the privacy policy or decide not to show it. And depending on the jurisdiction that you want to cover, you can choose what buttons to show. So if you want to show only the accept button and force people to allow all cookies, or you want to have allow all or decline, or if you want to let people customize the cookies, all of these options are available to you. Plus you can decide exactly what jurisdictions to show them a particular setup. By the way, we do support customization of the templates, and we have a number of templates. We're gonna have more than 50 templates over here, and you can change the templates with just a single click and preview your compliance consent management box in the template that you want to choose. So you can go for the template that suits your website, that gels with your website, and that will look good on your website. So I'm gonna go back to deep navy blue. Plus it also has in-depth customization through HTML and CSS. Yes, you can modify the HTML and you can modify the CSS file to get the exact look you want. So if you are technically oriented, or you have a tech team, or you have a designer, you can give them access to the CSS and the HTML and they can create the exact look they want. So that's also included. And you have multi-country compliance. You can choose to show a particular setup in a particular jurisdiction. Let's say you have created a consent management pop-up only for Africa. You can choose that. And you want to show a different pop-up in Europe and a different pop-up in North America and South America. All of that is possible. You can choose where you want to show each pop-up. And yes, you can have multiple pop-ups on your website, one for Africa, one for Asia, one for Europe, and people who come to your website from these different places will see the pop-up or see the consent experience that you have crafted for them for that particular region. That means you have complete control over compliance. You don't need to show it where you don't need to show it, and where you need to give people complete control, you can choose to do that. Plus, it has consent method management. You can choose for implied consent or explicit consent as required by law. Again, the defaults are set up and all done for you. The number one thing you need to remember is if you go with the defaults, you will cover things globally and you won't need to do a very detailed setup. But if you want to do a complete specific setup, that's absolutely up to you. By the way, it's all about cookie consent. So ComplyFi automatically detects the cookie that your website is using, automatically categorizes them, but also lets you change anything you want. So if you want to change, let's say there is a cookie that you're using and you know it's for vital and not marketing, you can recategorize that cookie, right? And it will be changed. So that way you can manage when people consent, what kind of cookies are conserved and what kind of cookies, if they don't want to accept those, are declined. Plus, you can also add your own cookies and also put the category that you want to choose for it. So again, it's for people who understand what cookie consent compliance is specifically for their website. Maybe you have a custom login experience. Maybe you have something specific going on with the cookies. Then you have got a custom website. You can put in your own experience, put in your own cookies over here and give people the option to manage them. Then you also have privacy management. And this is about consent management. Here is the thing. The law says that your visitors should be able to change consent when they need to. For example, when somebody comes to your website for the first time, they decide to opt in. It doesn't give you a license to just store cookies on their computers forever. It means they have made a preference and they should be allowed to change the preference at any time they want. And that's the point of consent or cookie management. And if you go to a website that implements it correctly, like I'm going to show you in a second, like this one, you will not only show the pop-up. If you allow all, for example, on the website, you will see a little icon that you can click to manage your consent. So it shows you what exactly have you consented to right now. So I've consented to vital, analytics, and marketing cookies. It also has a unique cookie consent identifier that I can use to manage my consent, and I can change my consent anytime I want by clicking on change consent. So if for some reason now I want to change my consent, I can do that. And this is a prime requirement from a consent management platform. Of course, ComplyFi meets that. Plus, it also gives you data protection officer, which is an important part of GDPR compliance. If you're selling to Europe, for example, you need to be able to give people the access to manage the data. They should be able to make requests with your data protection officer. You need to make a public declaration about your data protection officer. It should be on your website. People should be able to access it, and people should be able to make requests to that data protection officer. So ComplyFi gives you the capability to set up a DPO section on your website and give people the complete information they want, including the capacity to make a claim. So yes, people can make a claim on your website. Let me try to show you that. Here we go. I'm going to allow all and change consent. There is a go to DPO section. So when your customers come in, they can see information about your DPO and also send messages to the DPO from your website. That's what's required. And ComplyFi gives you the power to comply with that. By the way, if you want to not show the DPO option, if you're operating in a jurisdiction or you have a separate setup for DPO, and you don't want to show it to people, you can choose to not show it. And then people will not have access to go to the DPO section. Let's go to the top again. And finally, you have consent records. So ComplyFi manages the consent record of every single visitors who comes to your site. It will keep the IP address. There will be a unique ID assigned to each consent, the permissions that the user chose to give, the OS, the browser, the screen size, and the date when they decided to give you the consent. You can find any consent record by just putting in a few letters from the search, for example, like this. Click on search, and you can see all the consents that have the details, that have the UID that you put in. That way, if somebody makes a claim, you will get the consent details from them, and you can then use it to find out what they wanted to tell you. You can also search by IP if you want to. There is also a complaint record. So whenever somebody makes a complaint with you through the consent management DPO platform, you will get it in here. You will also receive an email. This is how the email looks. So you will know exactly what the customer said. This is just a test one right now, of course. So that way you will be able to adhere to the GDPR, to the cookie compliance, to the law that requires you to have a data protection officer. All of those would be covered. Plus, putting consent management, putting comprehensive compliance on your website is as easy as then copying a pixel code, just like you copy a Facebook pixel or a Google Analytics code, and putting it on your website. So just copy the code with the click of this button and paste it just above the body tag of your website. And that's all you need to do to create a complete consent management experience for you without having to do a lot of programming, a lot of computation, because ComplyFi just makes consent management easy so that you can run your ads and you can comply with all the local laws globally. By the way, ComplyFi automatically puts you in compliance with Google's Consent Mode V2, Microsoft UET, all done by itself. You don't need to change a thing. You don't need to do a thing. It just sends the right signals to these websites, to these providers automatically. So this was ComplyFi. I hope you like the software. And if you get it, I will see you inside. This is Cyril Gupta, your best friend in the business, signing off.
All right, thank you, Cyril. And once again, to get ComplyFi right now, it's only $190 for the entire package, which included the base deal, which you'll also see an option for on the inside, the Pro, which basically boosted you up. You know what? Before we go to question and answers, let me just review what it all includes, because you guys are going to ask me that anyway in just a minute, I'm sure. So let's back up here in my slideshow. And let's take a look at everything it does include. So it includes all this. The Elite, which is the basic package, all right? 20,000 visitors per website per month and 3 websites. But we bump you up by also including Pro. Pro unlocks all this. Customizable themes, 100 websites, 50,000 visitors per website per month, and 2 years of free upgrades, and of course, the commercial license, which allows you to sell this to other businesses. Then we have the Done For You, which you also get as part of this, which means you get 10 websites made compliant by our team without you having to do a thing. But we also are including our Converti Pro product, which is 40 conversion boosters, which Cyril discussed earlier. But here's the big one. We're also including for the $190, 70 ComplyFi licenses that you could resell for 100% profit. It's over an $8,000 value, and these are perpetual licenses, meaning as changes are made, you, of course, will also be able to reflect those changes in what you're selling. Those perpetual licenses mean that they get both the base version and the Pro. You could sell the base version and the Pro, and those licenses that you're selling will be updated to the latest. That's what the perpetual means. And you could sell them anytime you want. Customers get the latest version. This is a launch-only special. After today's all-inclusive deal, after this week is up, Cyril always goes to recurring prices, meaning every single month it costs a certain amount. So
Todd,
this is...
Can you change your screen, please? We're seeing a blank screen.
Oh, I forgot to change my screen. Do you see it now?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
It's on better yet. So you want to change it to the.
I'm going to show
Yes,
you
it's on
everything you're
Pro.
going to get. You get the Elite, of course, that's the basic product. You get everything upgraded by getting the Pro included. You get the Done For You option, which means 10 websites made compliant by our team. You get the conversion boosters. You get the reseller. And with this all-inclusive deal, this is what you get. The Pro, the Done For You, the Converti Pro, the reseller, which means 100 websites, 50,000 visitors per month, 250 pages per website, unlimited AI translation, 70 reseller licenses, all this for $190, one time only. Okay, and then on the inside, a reminder, you have two options to make this even better. You could get 140 additional reseller licenses for $97, or you can increase your site visitors from 50,000 to unlimited. So now that we've gone over everything, I promised you that we'll answer all your questions. Let me put that slide up. Phew, there's a lot to say. Luann, why don't you take it away?
All right. Oh, we have been so busy answering all your questions in the questions box. Keep them coming. Converti is an additional product that Cyril had that we promoted, that we launched a while ago, and we're including that because it's a perfect fit for ComplyFi. So you're going to get Converti Pro as one of the OTOs. When you purchase the all-inclusive, that'll be included in there. Yes, and we will have, Andre, we will have a sales video for you in probably about 2 weeks after launch. So yes, we will include that for now. When you see the sales page, you will see the webinar replay from last night, and that's what we'll have on there during the launch period. And Michael, yes, after the 2 years is over, you will have all the updates up through the next 2 years. And after 2 years, there will be a nominal fee likely for continued updates. Any additional questions? If we have not answered something, please put it back into the chat again so that we can see it again. Suggested price, Timothy, for the that's for the reseller. Sorry. Cyril, do you want to? I was going to talk about the other, but Cyril, do you want to jump in and talk about the reseller suggested pricing?
Absolutely. No problems, Luann. All right. So suggested price, Timothy, people have been like, if you look at our competition, the basic version starts at about $15 per month per website, per domain. Don't forget, it's only for one domain. And on that, they have several limitations, like it can only process so many consents. It can only handle that much traffic, and it has some features missing. Well, with us, we give you all the features to sell, so you can easily sell at the prices that the competition is selling. It's kind of like a bar, very easy to tell people, okay, this is what people are selling at, and I can give you a better product for whatever price you decide, and I will implement it on your website. So it's kind of a no-brainer to start off at $15. Plus, you can say it's unlimited traffic, and if you got the unlimited traffic bump, you can easily sell unlimited traffic to your customers, and they will be able to not they will not have to worry about traffic at all. So it's a great offer. You can give them a great offer. Now, those websites also sell $40 a month or even more. If you want, you can sell at that price, but I would say just charging $10 to $15 a month is a no-brainer. And again, remember, it's per domain. So if somebody has 2 domains, 3 domains, you can easily charge more and make a recurring income. So that's one way to sell the licenses. Another way is if you want to sell it one time, well, you have that option too. We do permit you to sell it for a one-time price, and in that case, you can sell up to $200 just for the product, and you can charge for implementation, theme customization. We do have 50 plus templates. We will have 50 plus templates in there. So customization is not all that difficult, but of course, you can bill it as a service. Even if you need to spend 10 minutes, that's still a service, and you can charge for add-ons like that. So that way you can make a nice little payout for yourself by providing this as a service, whether you choose to go one time or recurring. It's up to you. Back to you,
Um,
Luann.
okay, thank you, Cyril. Sorry, Michael, that you're having problems, and yes, I'll put the link back in the chat for you. Every once in a while, those things happen. So I've got it in your chat, and I'm also putting it in the main chat as well. Try it again, and you might want to try incognito just in case. That may help you access it. Rod, no, it's not for just one. The all-inclusive, no, it's not for one domain. Thank you, Rod, and congratulations. Any other questions? Yeah, you're going to get 70 licenses with the all-inclusive, and then you'll get, if you take the order bump for the resellers, you'll get an additional 140 licenses. Congratulations, Steve. Andre, it's about 2 weeks is what we estimated. We'll have the sales video ready for you. Gregory, it is a different situation. You'll have to find other products that will cover the ADA because it's a whole different situation. And with the ADA, you do not have to click on anything. The viewer does not have to click on anything when they come to the site to agree to a compliance because it's a whole different. It's a font style. It's colors. There's so many different other things that it covers. So we would not be able to do that with this particular product. And yes, it's extremely important to have that ADA covered as well. In Lloyd, unlimited is unlimited traffic. You're welcome, Gregory. Any other questions? ADA. I've forgotten actually what it's a Disability Act. So I've forgotten what the first word is, but it has to do
American
with
Disability Act.
I'm sorry.
American.
American. Okay. American Disability Act. So it has to do with complying, having your website accessible to people who have disabilities. So that could cover a lot of different things. So people who um, have difficulty seeing, you're covering different ways that they can still read or listen to the website with despite their disability for seeing. Others are colorblind, and so they recommend different colors that you have on your site so that people who are colorblind can actually see the site in something other than gray. So there's different font sizes, again, for people who have difficulty with seeing. A larger font may accommodate those people. Some people can't hear, so watching a video, you want to have the subtitles on the video. Those type of things are what's covered under ADA. And no, we don't, Rodney, we don't have, ADA is not included with this particular product. Any other questions?
I got a pitch in about the ADA thing, Luann. I just want to tell people that it's a very unique and different problem. It's not consent related, and a consent management platform cannot have ADA. Also, to really solve ADA, your website must be designed from the ground up to be compatible with the requirements. Like Luann did a great exposition of all the different things you need to do, and as a plugin, we can't do that. So I don't know if there are plugins that solve a problem. They might solve about 10%, maybe 20%, 30% if you're lucky, but the magnitude is very different. And while consent we can solve convincingly, I don't want to make a half-baked product that only promises and doesn't deliver. So I want to solve the problems well, and consent and compliance is what we solve. ADA is a different matter, and we don't really solve that with this product.
Steen, you're saying that you didn't see the ADA compliance on our sales page. Is that what you're saying? It is there. I'm looking at the page right now. Once you agree, it becomes a small icon on the left hand side. It looks like a chain, chain links. And when you click on it, it opens it back up, and you can manage your compliance from there. Yes, Gregory. Yeah, they can. AD not being ADA compliant can result in significant fines. Yes. Dean, I don't know why you're not seeing it. And I can't. I can give you the link. Okay, I'm putting the link in your chat so that you can look at it again. Rodney, well, like Cyril said, it really is very involved. Were some products that came out a couple of years ago for ADA, and they were helpful to a degree, like Cyril said, but it really is a grounds up from scratch kind of thing that needs to be done on each website, because there is quite a few things involved if you want to be compliant in all areas. Okay. Yes, Steam, please, send a screenshot, or you can post it in the group if you want to, in the questions box. Okay. Cyril, he's saying he's looking at the page in incognito. Does that make a difference whether the cookie, the consent banner shows up?
No. It should show up even if the page is visited incognito or without,
Okay.
or the regular way. So if you're not seeing it, it's likely that you consented and there is a small icon on the left side. But if not, well, just like you said, send us a screenshot and we will investigate, because I just checked it and I can see it there too.
Congratulations, Tom. So many of you have jumped in today on this tool, and we're really pleased. We're so happy for you. You'll be able to help so many different websites out with your particular approach to it. So, and keep in mind you have the commercial license, so that even without the resellers selling the resale sites like that, you can still make money by offering a service along with this. Steen, you can send it to your green screen guy at gmail.com and I'll look at that. I'll put that in your chat. It's also, I think it's also in the main chat too. And if any of you need some help, the support desk, I'm going to put that link in the chat as well. But there is a live support on every page, and you will be able to go right there and ask in the live chat bot if you have any questions. So either way. Congratulations, Joe. You're welcome, Steen. Cyril, do you want to address Lloyd? He's asking about the difference. Oh, he already did.
Yeah, I
Lloyd, he
just
says
typed that out. Yeah, but in
unlimited.
case, yeah.
Go ahead.
So the unlimited guys, I'm gonna tell you this: the number of visitors on your website, that's what we are talking about. And when you have the unlimited version, which I heavily recommend, you get the capacity to get any number of visitors on your site, and you don't need to worry about it. You can collect all the consents you want. You can have any number of visitors you want, and this is great if you are also selling this as a product to other businesses and you want to implement consent on their websites too, or you have a very high traffic e-com site or a very high traffic blog site. So all of that can come in handy. And some of you asked me will be the purchase price after the unlimited is over. So most of the time it's actually just a pennies on the dollar, because again, my focus is on giving you long-term value and also making sure that you love my products and you buy from me and Todd over and over without any kind of reservations. That's what our business is built on. It's with it's built on trust and long-term loyalty to our products, and that's why you will never find us as giving you a deal that is not the best in the market. That's what we always do. So don't worry about it. Get the unlimited version if you want to sell the product. It's a great idea to do that, and once you do that, it removes all the limits, and after the year is over, we might need to charge you some handful of bucks depending on the situation, the market condition, the cost that we are running, just to cover our costs, and that's about it.
And would you like to address Andre? He's asking about the reseller. Does that mean they have access, the business has access to their own account?
Absolutely, that's right, Luan. Andre, you got it right. When you sell the reseller account, you can give your customers access to either elite or pro level accounts on ComplyFi. So they are just at the same status as our regular other customers. They can log into ComplyFi, they can do their own things, and they get the same levels of service and support like our customer. That's very important. Whenever you sell a reseller product, you need to make sure that the vendor, the original creator, commits to giving your customers the service. So support is covered by us, and we have 24/6. That's from Monday to Saturday, every day.
We have 24 hours live chat support. My team is there working with our visitors, and that includes the customers that you refer, that you sell to. We will be working with them, helping them as they need it, so that you don't have to worry about anything of about that. You can only sell and just focus on what you do best, which is making money. So I hope that clarifies the question, Andre.
Any other questions? If any of you came in late and you'd like to have another chance to watch our webinar, we're going to have another live webinar for the closing on Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you're welcome to come back then. You've already signed up, registered for that. You'll get reminders from GoTo before that webinar, so you'll have that link again. Yes, Andre, you can charge monthly for this. You can charge however you want to on that. It's up to you. And however, whichever payment processor you want to use. Michael, the reseller expires when you sell all your licenses. So if you have 70 licenses, you have, as long as you need to, or if you purchase the other, you have as long as you need to do the reselling. Leo, it's not really like white label. You can use your own branding with Pro, so you don't even need unlimited for that. You can change out where it says Technic Force, you can change that to Leo's exceptional business, whatever, whatever your branding is. Any other questions? You're welcome. Well, we still have quite a few people left here. So if you have any questions, are you still on the fence about this? If you're doing it Andre, as a software as a service, you can charge anywhere from 15, what we've seen from other competition, let's put it that way, anywhere from $15 to $40 per month per domain. And we suggest you go on the lower side because you're offering an exceptional program, more so than some of the others that are out there, and you are paying one-time fee. So you're going to be able to capitalize on that very quickly and make a good income from that, even at the lower end. Rodney, yes, you can cancel. If you're talking about the reseller license, no, you cannot reuse that license. It's a one-time only license for each person. So do keep that in mind. But yes, you can stop them if they cancel. Any other questions? No, per website, Andre. Not per page, per domain. No. Per month. And if any of you came in late or just want to watch the replay, we have the replay up on the sales page from last night, and you're welcome to watch that again. And in case you missed anything, especially some of you who weren't able to see the demo, We do have some problems with a few people every time on GoTo that they're not able to see the videos that we play. So you'll be able to watch that demo that Cyril put together on the replay. Any other questions? Yes, definitely. You always want to collect your fee up front when you're doing a service like that. Fiverr gig. Yes, I guess you could offer this on Fiverr. Yeah, you'll be able to, I can make your site compliant. Sure. And since the majority of people do not even realize that they need this, it's an excellent service to offer. Do keep that in mind. And of course, as we've said on this webinar, it's wide open. 95% of the websites on the internet are not compliant. You can just keep offering and offering and offering. Andre, there's a number of different ways. And yeah, like Cyril said, you send them an assessment report of their site. We have a checklist that's going to be part of the bonus. Somebody said, can I use this checklist, or is this for my own personal use? And we all said, yes, you definitely can use this as you're approaching your customers. And just so you know that all the attendees, we're going to be getting this, the bonuses, they will be coming out on Monday inside a go-to email that we'll be sending out. We can't do that before the last webinar, so it'll go out on Monday. So look out for that. Rodney, no, the compliance is needed on every single website. Does not matter whether they're advertising or not. And don't forget to look, those of you who have already purchased, don't forget to look for your bonuses as a paid customer on the thank you page. You landed there when you completed your purchase, so make sure that you look at that landing page. It also has a link for the support on that page as well. So any other questions? Cyril, you recommended a way of identifying the websites that are not compliant?
Well, you can easily just go to the website. If you don't see a cookie pop-up, it's not compliant. Or if the cookie pop-up doesn't have a consent management system, actually they are the better clients, and because these guys have an obsolete system, but they're aware of the importance of the law, and you can just tell them your cookie consent management system or cookie pop-up is obsolete. You need a proper consent management, and we have it, and just sell it to them. But it does require manual work. I would start by just looking at Google Maps, going to my region, and kind of like look for different niches. And they have all these websites. They have links to the websites, and all these businesses have links to the websites, and you can go to these websites. Or there are several lead grabbing or lead finding products in the market. I'm sure you have a couple already if you're in the niche, so you can use those tools too. And Andre, I will take that question. Andre has another interesting question. Is there a deadline? Well, Andre, the deadline is already passed. So Google consent mode became effective last year, Microsoft also earlier this year, and every single website that needs to be compatible today. And if they're not compatible, they're having two issues. Firstly, they are, of course, they are in violation of the law. Secondly, they are losing retargeting and remarketing capabilities. They're not able to retarget or remarket, and that's already happening. So yeah, it's something that's imperative and urgent, and every business needs to fix that.
And new laws are always coming forward. They're always being implemented. So Cyril will definitely keep up with any of the new laws that are passed, and they'll be included. So you don't have to be concerned about that. And going back to the whether they're compliant or not, somebody sent me his website the other day and said, "Oh, well, I already have compliance on my site." And I took a look at his site, and all he has was allow, deny, and that obviously is not up to date compliance. So I sent him a link to our sales page and showed him what we have included with ours, so he knew he could compare the two and understand, what else is needed to be compliant today. Any other questions? You just keep coming up with some really good ones. Oh, Andre, thank you. Andre said this is a no-brainer. I'm in. Rodney, we will have something. We'll come up with something. I think several people have asked the same question if we have a video. So thank you, Ken.
Just want to add to that, we have a webinar on the sales page right now, but after the launch is over, we do put a sales video on all of our sites. So if you look at all my existing products, you will find that there is a sales video there. And of course, we will be producing it for our business. And as a tradition, as in the past, all of my resellers will have the rights to use the video that I produce, that I pay a lot of money for. You can use that free of cost. You can use all my demos free of cost. You can use my trainings free of cost. So yes, I have given you all the tools. We do have a lot of graphics. If you go to the resources section of our affiliate page, you will find a lot of graphics. You will even find pre-made emails that you can send to your prospects. You will find social media ads, lots of things, right? So everything that you need to sell is going to be provided to you. Of course, some things have a timeline. They take days, some things take a couple of weeks, but of course, we'll be working on them, and as early as possible, they will be provided to you. Rodney has a follow-up question. Is the video white label or gray label? Well, Rodney, I don't really understand the concept. There is no white label in ComplyFi, so we won't be able to give you a white label video at all. You will be able to use what we produce. If you want to change it in any way, you can. You want to put in your own details on the video, re-record it, just replace the audio. You have it, right? So you can make a VSL yourself if push comes to shove and you want to totally customize it for your brand. Well, we can do that for you, unfortunately, but you can make a VSL. It's just going to look perfect. I have sold a lot of ton of stuff with a VSL, with a very nice simple VSL in the past. Not hard to set up one in about a couple of hours or maybe even 1 hour.
You're welcome, Rodney. Cyril takes care of his customers. And Cyril's products have been around for a long time now, and he continues to maintain them and update them. And so you never have to be concerned about, what's going to happen 6 months from now or a year from now or whatever. Cyril's going to back every single one of his products. Any other questions?